So I'd like to do some acupressure right here. And we're going to start off with gallbladder 20, which is in the depression between the upper portion of the sternocleidomastoid and the trapezius muscle. So I'll just find that depression right here on either side and apply pressure just with my fingers at first, some more dull pressure, and just using circular motions to stimulate this point. This is a wonderful point for expelling wind. It is in fact called the wind pool. It's good for relieving pain in this area and also for headaches, relieving dizziness, lightheadedness, and subduing liver yang, which can often rise with stress, with anger, frustration, resentment that builds up in the body. So let's just give this area some love. I'm just going to use this tool here that kind of presses in when you apply some pressure, and just locating gallbladder 20 again right there, and just apply some pressure. It shouldn't hurt, but it should be quite stimulating. And you should feel what we call the qi sensation in traditional Chinese medicine, which means that we're stimulating the acupressure point sufficiently enough to cause a change and the qi just kind of like, the system, the meridians of flowing energy in the body. I'll do the same thing on the other side. So I'm using the other end of the tool. This is kind of a roller, but with these dull spikes. So it's not sharp, but it is certainly stimulating the skin, the superficial skin, as well as, is that okay? All right. And the deeper tissues underneath, like the muscle, fascia, connective tissue, subdermal fat, and all the nerves in them. And so I'm just stimulating the urinary bladder meridian. I really love this meridian. It's got just wonderful immune modulating properties. It's tonifying all the organs that are located here. And I'm applying deeper pressure as I move down. So I want the meridian to move. I want the chi to move downwards. We want to lower the chi, subdue rather than lift to the surface, because Maya's been experiencing lightheadedness, dizziness, nausea. So we want to just keep that movement in the downward direction. Okay, and now I want to stimulate two specific points along the urinary bladder meridian. The first one is urinary bladder 20, which is Pishu. This point is 1.5 twin lateral to the posterior midline, so just where we were stimulating at the level of the lower border of the 11th thoracic spinous process. So let's go ahead and locate where the 11th thoracic spinous process is. I like to start off with locating the 7th cervical vertebrae, which is right there. And then we'll just count our way down. T1, T2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So right there, just want to double check with another landmark. The lower border of the scapula usually coincides with T7, lower border of T7, so T8, T9, T10, T11. Okay, so right there. So on either side there, let's see, that's urinary bladder 20. So actually I'll start with just my fingers. And Maya's been having some discomfort with the stomach. And in traditional Chinese medicine, the spleen and stomach are both responsible for digestion, processing of food, of raw materials into qi, to gu qi first, and then send it throughout the body to be processed further into other forms of qi and blood, other things. So we want to use this point to tonify the spleen, tonify the stomach, resolve any dampness, which is so common in the spleen. And also helps to just like harmonize everything. Okay, and I'm going to apply pressure with the tool right here. One more time. Okay, and I want to do a bit of scraping using this tool. And is that okay? All right. So just scraping this point, just along the meridian again, downwards. Other side. Sending loving, healing light to this area. The prayer that Maya's spleen and stomach may be restored to full health, vitality. Allow the spleen chi to move up and stomach chi to move down the way it's supposed to. Setting loving, healing light here. It's all part of the healing. Okay. All right. So I'll go ahead and locate lung 1. It is 6 twin lateral to the anterior midline in the first intercostal space, 1 twin below lung 2. So often I actually like to locate lung 2 first, since it is actually a little bit higher than lung 1. So lung 2 is in the depression below the lateral end of the clavicle. 6 twin lateral to the anterior midline. So the way to find this is from the anterior midline to the chromion here. It's 9 twin. So you want to just divide it into 3 and then find 6 twin. One more time. I'll do the same thing on the other side. There. Okay, and now I'm going to locate lung 1, which is in the first intercostal space. I'm going to palpate for the first rib, which is right there. And it's going to be just under that, right there. Okay. Same thing on the other side. Okay, perfect. All right. Okay, so now we're going to move to the upper arm area. So now we're looking for lung 3, which is 3 twin distal to the anterior axillary fold. So that's the anterior axillary fold right here. We're going to go 3 twin distal on the anterior aspect. So anterior is when the palms face up. This whole side is anterior. And on the radial side of the biceps brachii muscle. So I like to palpate the biceps brachii muscle You can feel the whole thing right there. And it's going to be radial, which is on the side of the thumb. And we're going 3 twin distal to the anterior axillary fold. So let's go ahead and divide that into 3s right there and right there. Locate that. Okay. I'll do all the points on this arm and then move on to the other arm after that. Lung 4. 4 twin distal to the anterior axillary fold. On the anterior aspect of the arm on the radial side, 5 twin proximal to lung 5 and 1 distal to lung 3. So it's literally just 1 twin down right there. And again, you're on the radial side. Perfect. So lung 5 is Chuzi, and it is on the cubital crease to the radial side of the biceps brachii tendon. So I feel the tendon right here, and it's right radial to that on the cubital crease. And it's best located with elbows slightly flexed. Let's just flex that a little bit. There we go. That's lung 5. Now we're moving on to lung 6. Lung 6 is on the anterior aspect of the forearm, 7 twin proximal to lung 9, which is on the transverse wrist crease, and the line joining lung 9 and lung 5. So let me go ahead and locate lung 9 first, and then I'll work my way back. Lung 9 is a very important point. It is the source point of the lung channel. So this is a great point to stimulate when you're trying to tonify the lung organ. And a lot of the lung qi actually exists in this spot here. So very powerful point. Let's go ahead and find that on the transverse crease of the wrist in the depression on the radial side of the radial artery. So for this point, I like to just actually locate the radial artery, which I can find right there. And I'm going right radial to that. So right there. And we're staying on that transverse crease. Okay, perfect. Okay. So you'll find that lung 6, 7, and 8 go right in between lung 5 and lung 9. Lung 6 is 7 twin proximal to lung 9. So this forearm is actually 12 twin. And you can use that as a guide for trying to find these points. So lung 8 is 1 twin proximal. I'm going to go ahead and divide into half, just make a mark right there. And then here again, into quarters. Right there. Okay. All right. And then into thirds. 1, 2, 3. Right there. 2, 2, 3. 2. Okay, just wanted to make sure. That point is also going to be on the radial side of the radial arteries. Just double checking we're on that radial side. Good. Right there. Okay. Lung 7 is proximal to the styloid process of the radius, 1.5 twin proximal to large intestine 5 at the transverse crease of the wrist. So lung 7, I like to find it like this. I go ahead and hook in between my thumb and index finger, right where it is there, and then where it naturally rests is where lung 7 is. Right there. Okay. And then we have lung 6, which is 7, so proximal to lung 9. So just gonna look right there. And then you want to make sure it's on that line. Right there. Just double check so it's in proximal to lung 9. It's in proximal. 7's in back of this. I think that's right. Alright, now I'm going to go on the hand. Lung 10 is on the radial aspect of the hand at the midpoint of the first metacarpal bone. You'll find that right there. And you want to find it's located at the junction where you can see that the color of the skin changes color from flesh to sort of more red. That's right where it is. And the last point is lung 11 on the radial side of the thumb. So right there. Point 1 swing posterior to the corner of the nail bed. So right there. Okay. Now I'm going to connect all the points of the lung meridian, and just so it's easier for me to know where everything is and I can stimulate that. It starts right there where you can find the lung, and it's going to go that way, all the way there, and there, down there, here. Oh, I forgot this part. Perfect. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I've already located lung 1 and 2. So again, lung 3 twin distal to the anterior axillary fold, the radial side of the biceps brachii. Just palpate your bicep again. There it is. And right there. And then lung 4. Bit there. Okay. Lung 5. Let's go ahead to lung 9. Palpating the radial artery. And right radial to that. Making sure it's on that transverse crease. I'll go a little bit higher there. Okay. And dividing, I have halfway. lung 8. Lung 7. Proximal to lung 9. 7 to proximal 6. And then on the line joining right there. So right here. Okay, and then we have lung 10, the midpoint, and a carpal bone. Oh, on the junction. Wait, let me just fix that. On the junction of the red and white skin. Junction of the red and white skin. There. And then we have radial to this nail bed right there, the lower corner. Okay, let's go ahead and trace all the points together. Starting at the right lung, moving up to the clavicle area, down, hello dear, welcome to your massage. Today we're going to be doing a spring wellness visit with acupressure points that support your liver, which is very important right now as we start spring, as well as a massage to help with any tightness and pain in the neck and shoulders, which you described you had. So we're going to start with locating the acupressure points and just marking them, and then we'll do some acupressure massage and then some other massage on the neck and shoulders. Okay. I just have some notes here that I'll place right here so I can keep track of all the points that we'll be doing. And I want to start with the front mu point, which is a very important point in supporting the liver. And the reason why I've chosen the liver is because spring is the wood element for traditional Chinese medicine. And with the wood element, the liver is particularly important to look at. Oftentimes, we'll find that our liver experiences liver qi stagnation in the spring. It tends to be overtaxed, especially with the winds that we experience. So the first point, liver 14, is called the Gate of Hope, also known as the Qi Men. It is located forward-swing lateral to the anterior midline in the 6th intercostal space. So we'll start on the right side where your liver is located. So locating liver 14, we're just finding the midpoint between the sternum here and the acromion, and that's about forward-swing in. And then we're going down to the 6th intercostal space. So just locating the first rib here, the second there, third here, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So just double check that again. I can also locate the second rib by finding this little ridge here on the manubrium, or where the manubrium and the rest of the sternum, the junction is. That's the second rib, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, so right under here. And just making sure that it's midline. It's right there. Perfect. I just want to make a mark right there so I know to apply acupressure right here. We can do the same thing on the other side. So again, just locating halfway between the sternum and the acromion. We're moving down to that same spot, and we have here a guide. We can just go to the other side and find the 6th intercostal space. Just right there. Just kind of do a little mark pointing towards the acupressure point. So that's liver 14. And I'll tell you a little bit more about liver 14 when we do the acupressure for that. So we have Taxi here with us, and she'll be purring away and kneading away, and she'll give you a little bit of a massage as well. So now we're moving on to pericardium 6, which is Neguan. And this point moves liver qi, helps with stagnation of liver qi caused by emotional problems. So let's go ahead and locate that. Where's my little pencil? It's missing. Use this one. So next we are locating pericardium 6, Neguan, which is located Tutsuen proximal to the transverse crease of the wrist, and right in between the two tendons that are found here, the palmaris longus and the flexor carpi radialis. So we can divide the forearm. This is 12 tsuen. So if we do thirds, and then right here. That's it right there, and I'm just going to mark it. Okay. Let's do the other one. All right, and that's located on the other arm. So again, 12 tsuen, divide by 3, and then halfway. So right over there, between the two tendons. So I'm just pointing towards where I will be doing acupressure. Okay. All right. So I'd like to go ahead and do some acupressure. And I'm going to apply a little bit of oil and then use these tools for acupressure. Right there, just to allow the smooth flow of the massage. So as we located previously, liver 14 is right here and right there. So I want to do a little bit of more accurate, precise acupressure first. And then I will move on to the mushrooms. Just start by applying on the right side where the liver is. And just some circular motions, applying a bit of pressure as well. Does that feel okay? Okay. So, when liver qi stagnation occurs, one of the symptoms that happens is that you might have trouble really taking deep breaths because the qi is stuck in a certain spot, often stuck actually in this area in the hypochondriac region. And that's why we might sigh in order to help release the chi onto this side. So this spot, this point right here, liver 14, can really help to allow your chest to expand more and to be able to take a nice relaxing breath, to bring in some more peace and relaxation, to help remove stagnant energies of anger and frustration, which are associated with the liver in the TCM perspective. Okay, I'm just using both my fingers here, just applying the pressure. Encouraging the smooth flow of liver chi. That is the main action of the liver, is to help move chi throughout the body, which also assists in digestion and the menses. So it can help with regulating the menses. Any symptoms associated with PMS can be regulated this way as well through a healthy liver. It also moves blood, stores blood, and can move it as well. Okay, just give it a little bit of a rest, and then we're going to move on to these twin mushrooms from ASMR Twigs, which I really like. I'm going to use this smaller surface. Just do a bit of massage here. Just circular motions again. You can just take deep breaths to allow the liver chi to move. This can help to move blood and harmonize the stomach as well. Okay, wonderful. So now let's move on to the the arms. Again, I'm going to use that same technique. I'll start on the right side, right here. Just let me know if that's too much pressure. It's just going to be right in between the tendons. This is also a wonderful point for subduing rebellious chi and reducing nausea and vomiting too. But in this case, we're using it to move liver chi, to allow the smooth flow of it. It can especially help with the emotional aspect of liver chi stagnation. Go to the other side. It's very easy to, throughout the day, just massage this point yourself as well. It can help calm the mind too. Just using my thumbs, we're going to apply some more pressure. Just these circular motions. again, the twin mushrooms. Applying that. Okay, wonderful. Now we can proceed to the legs and feet. Next, I'd like to locate the yuan source point of the liver meridian, which is Taichung, liver 3. So this point is located on the dorsum of the foot in the depression distal to the junction of the first and second metatarsal bone. So you'll find it just right here. So this is the junction of the first and second metatarsal, and you'll find it right in that little depression there. I'm just going to mark that. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. Again, just finding the junction where the two metatarsal bones meet, and then that little depression there. Perfect. Okay. Next, we'll locate gallbladder 34, which is the influential point of tendons and sinews. It's right on the side of the knee. So gallbladder 34 is in the depression anterior and inferior to the head of the fibula. So let's first find the head of the fibula here. Right there. It's going to be anterior and inferior. So right there is gallbladder 34. Let me just mark it. I'll do the same on the other side. There it is. Okay. And now we can start the acupressure massage. Right there. So gallbladder 34 also moves liver qi, especially in the hypochondriac region. And because it's the influential point of tendons and sinews, it really benefits that, especially in this area. Is that too much pressure? Okay. Do you feel kind of like an achy sensation? Yeah, that's a good thing. It helps to relieve pain in this area. Just overall really beneficial for the sinews in this area. It also helps to expel wind in the knees and legs, which means if you have any pain in your knees and legs, it can help to expel that. specifically pain that's caused by the pathogenic factor of wind coming in. From the TCM perspective, if you expose your knees to the wind and you're susceptible, then it could end up causing a lot of pain. And spring is a time of great winds, so we must be extra cautious. Even though the sun is out and the blossoms are blooming, the birds are singing, it's important to still be cautious of the wind and stay covered. Even if it's just a thin jacket that will protect you from wind, you should do it. Scarves are helpful too, just protecting your body. Now the other side. Just a little bit longer. Now on your own, you can also stimulate this point. It's quite easy to find. Just anterior and inferior to the head of the fibula. Okay. Now with both thumbs, take deep breaths. Allow the liver chi to move. Allow the pain to subside. Allow the wind to be expelled. Okay, good. And then a duller sensation from the twin mushrooms to end off acupressure here. Wonderful. Okay. Now let's move on to the feet. And now back to liver 3, Tai Chuan. Let's apply some acupressure here. First apply a bit of oil. And these marks that I've made are just an eyeliner pencil, and it's all natural, so absolutely no harm there. Let's apply pressure right there. Is that okay? So liver 3 is part of the wind gates, the 4 gates. And it's very well known to move chi throughout the body. It certainly does also promote the smooth flow of liver chi, calms the mind, and it regulates nerves, moves blood, nourishes yin. It's so important. Especially since you've been hard at work, school, you just finished up your school semester and your entire degree, which is incredible. It also means that you've depleted a lot of your yin, so it's a good idea to nourish the yin. And the best way to do that is to simply rest and eat good food. Move your body gently, take lots of breaks, practice self-care, which can include acupressure. Okay, give it a bit of a rest. terms of foods to support the liver in spring, it's a good idea to eat early spring greens. So anything that's popping out right now, like dandelion, for example, it's a bitter as well, which can help to promote liver bile. And all greens in general, kale, arugula, even celery, and also sprouts. Any kind of sprouts, mung bean sprouts, alfalfa sprouts, broccoli sprouts can all be very beneficial to the liver. In terms of exercise, it's great to stretch, do lots of really gentle stretches to help exercise the tendons and ligaments of your body, move the blood to your joints and muscles. Just another role of the liver can help to facilitate that movement. And of course, some energetic body work like Tai Chi, for example, is great for moving chi in your body, including liver chi. Okay, that's great. Now I'm going to have you flip over and we can work on the back points. So now that we have you flipped over to your back, I'd like to move on to the next point, which is gallbladder 20, Feng Shi Wind Pool. So this one is located in the depression between the upper portion of the sternocleidomastoid and the trapezius muscle. Let's go ahead and find that. It's right at the base of the skull. Just going to mark that. This would be right. Just comb your hair out a bit so I can see the points clearly. Right there. And right there. So the next point is urinary bladder 18, which is Ganshu. It's the back shu point for the liver. And back shu points are very powerful in tonifying and regulating the organ. It allows the chi of the liver meridian to emanate from the interior to the exterior body surface. So it's very powerful. And for the liver, it is located, let's see here, where did I write that? Right there. 1.5 twin lateral to the posterior midline, which is the spine, at the level of the lower border of the 9th thoracic process. Okay. So we can count the thoracic processes, the spinous processes. One kind of shortcut way that we learned at school is normally the bottom of the scapula, bottom angle, is in line with the 7th spinous process, which would be right here. Right there. And then that would be the 9th, 8th and 9th. And at the bottom, then we're going 1.5. And the measurement between the medial border of the scapula and the spine is 3 twin. So you want to go halfway. So I imagine it would be around here. So I just want to confirm by starting at C7 and working my way down to T9. So that's C7 right there, T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, T6, T7, T8, T9 right there. Okay. Just going to mark it. Oops, my hands are a little bit. There we go. It was a bit slippery. So that's the bottom border, T9. Then we'll find the medial border of the scapula, the spine, right in the middle. So right there. Just mark it. And then on the other side, halfway, right there. Good. Okay, and there's just one more point to locate before we do all the acupressure. This is on the back of the forearm. The next point is Zhigo triple warmer 6. It is 3 twin proximal to triple warmer 4 on the radial side of the exterior digitorum communis muscle. So triple warmer 4 is at the crease, I believe, and then on the radial side of the extensor digitorum. So let's try to find the extensor digitorum communis first. Okay, on that side. And it is 3 twin proximal. Since it's 12 twin between the transverse crease of the wrist and the elbow here, just going to do that right there, and on the radial side. Right there. Same thing on the other side. So that. On the radial side. There. So all the points have been located. We can go ahead and do our acupressure massage. Let's start with triple warmer 6, Zhigo. Apply a little bit more of this massage oil. Okay. So this point regulates qi, expels wind heat, relieves pain, especially in this area. Also benefits the voice and benefits the chest and ribs. It moves liver qi, especially on either side of the body. Okay, other side. Okay. Now with both of my thumbs, and then the twin mushrooms. Okay. Let's move on to the back. Onto urinary bladder 18, just right there. So this is the main point for all liver-related conditions. Tonifies the organ, regulates the organ. It also benefits the eyes very much. The liver is responsible for moving blood to the eyes. And so often people with liver pathologies from the TCM perspective also tend to develop eye pathologies. So any kind of eye problem, pain, itchiness, dryness, even vision problems. Liver also controls tears. So this point spreads liver chi and stabilizes the spirit. It's also important for emotional issues, including depression, anger, frustration, stress, mood swings, and PMS. It's another great point to massage. You can have someone massage it for you. Okay. Now with my thumbs. Now the twin mushrooms. Just cover up here. Just relax, okay? All right, so we're nearing the end of the massage and acupressure session. I'm going to go ahead and do the last point here. First on the left side. This point is great for releasing tension in the neck and also headaches and migraines. It's just very relaxing, de-stressing as well. You can have a partner massage this point for you and just take deep breaths while they massage it. Just using my middle fingers to apply pressure here. It's just more comfortable for me. than the twin mushrooms. Okay, wonderful. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we're going to be doing some extra points from the acupuncture meridians. Essentially, I was supposed to learn these points last year for school, but because of the pandemic, everything got pushed a little later, and I'm learning them now. And it's great to have a real life person to learn them on. Going to be having the practicals in March, and I'm setting them ahead of time. They're also very therapeutic and relaxing points, so I think it'll be a nice little acupressure massage for you too. So the first point we're going to start with is yin tang, which is right in the middle of the two eyebrows where they meet. And this is a great point for headaches, especially frontal headaches. It really helps to calm the mind, benefits the nose, and relieves any pain or tension in this area. And it can be used for insomnia, anxiety, as well as hypertension when it comes to sort of stress-induced hypertension. It can also be used for rhinorrhea, nasal discharge, sinusitis. So a very good point that encompasses many different actions. The next point is called Yuyao, which is the fish waist, and it is right at the center of each of the eyebrows. This point you might recognize as being part of the Yanbao Jiancao eye exercises, along with a few other points in the extra points actually that we will touch on as we go. And so understandably it's used for eye strain, really benefits the eyes. It also subdues liver yang and relieves any pain. Another interesting thing it can do is reducing eye twitching. So if you find that your eye kind of twitches, you can use this point to sort of allow the muscles to stop spasming as much. Okay. The next we have Taiyang, which I've used many times. This point is in the depression found 1 cun, posterior to the midpoint of the line drawn between the lateral end of the eyebrow and the outer canthus. So if you bring these two together and then go 1 cun posterior, right here. This point is great for headaches, especially headaches of the temple. Good for migraines, dizziness, poor vision. Overall, it benefits the eyes, reduces swelling, and relieves pain. Okay. The next point is Qiuhou, which is on the inferior orbital border, so right here, and the meeting of the lateral quarter with the medial 3/4 of that border. So it's actually right here. And in the instructions, when you acupuncture this point, you actually want to push the eyeball slightly medially in order to acupuncture right under there. So I'm just going to locate this point without doing any acupressure on it. The next point is Bitong, which you'll find the nasolabial groove right at the superior little border there. And this point really helps to open up the nose. It benefits the paranasal sinuses and relieves any pain in this area. So it can also be used for rhinitis, allergic rhinitis, even epistaxis, which is nosebleeds. So traditionally that wasn't an indication. And hopefully you can breathe a little bit easier now. Next we have Jiachengjiang, which is grasping contain fluid. It is 1 cun lateral to CV24. CV24 is part of the conception vessel, and it's right here on the midline. So Jiachengjiang is actually 1 cun lateral, and again I'm just going to use my thumb for a very rough measurement. And when we're measuring 1 cun, we're measuring at this interphalangeal joint here on my thumb. And me and my sister, we have around the same width of the thumb. But you also want to palpate for the depression, which is right here. You can kind of feel like you're just coming off a little piece of bone, and then right here. This point helps to benefit the face and relieves pain, removes obstructions. It can also be used for toothaches and swelling of the gums. The next point is 四声聪. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but it means for mind hearing. And first you're going to find governing vessel 20. So in order to do so, I'm just going to divide her hair right in the midline. Sorry. Place this right here. in order to find these 4 points, I'm going to divide the hair right down the center. And then we're going to find governing vessel 20, which you're going to use the apices of the ear and go up right here. And then you're going to use the thumb measurement again. 1 sun anterior, 1 sun posterior, 1 sun to either side. So I can feel that depression there. Now I'm going to feel on this side. Okay. Okay, we'll start with these 2 points, just kind of applying some acupressure. This point also subdues interior wind, calms the mind, benefits the eyes, benefits the ears, subdues liver yang. So you can see that the actions are very similar to governing vessel 20, which makes sense. They're all kind of in the same area. They can also be used for headache, dizziness, insomnia, especially if the insomnia is caused by anxiety. Okay, and then we're going to find those 2 points on the side, which is also part of the Shishin Tsung. And the next point is arjian, and that just means the tip of the ear. And I can't really apply acupressure here. This is more like an acupuncture point, or maybe using a little thumbtack, ear tack, sorry. But this point will help to clear heat, subdue liver yang, and relieve any pain in this area. The next point is called Yiming. It means brilliant clouds. It's 1 sun posterior to triple warmer 17. Triple warmer 17, I believe, is like right under the lowest point of the lobe here. And so if you're just going 1 sun behind that, it'll be around here on the mastoid process. Let me just make sure I can find that little divot. It's directly posterior. This point benefits the eyes, benefits the ears, and interestingly also nourishes heart yin. You know, the heart yin is really important for sleep, actually. One of the causes of insomnia is heart yin deficiency. Heart yin is also important for just the overall well-functioning of the mind. And so if you have heart yin deficiency, you'll experience fatigue, as in all deficiencies, but also insomnia, anxiety, palpitations, that kind of thing. Okay. And then we have another point. I'm just going to turn your head slightly like this. We have another point called Anmian. And this point is at the midpoint of the line joining triple wormer 17 and gallbladder 20. We know that gallbladder 20 is back here. Let me just find it. Right here. So it'll be halfway between those 2 points. Right there. Anmian. An is kind of like safe, good kind of meaning, and then mian means sleep. So anmian means a good night's sleep. Just here. And find that gallbladder 20 again, which is back here. Here, and find the midpoint. It feels like it's right behind the sternocleidomastoid. And like in the line. Okay. So that's it for the points of the face and skull. Next, we're going to move down to the shoulders and keep moving down to the lower part of the body. So next we have the point 肩内经, which means shoulder front, or 肩内经 or 肩内, oh, 肩内陵, 肩前. 肩前 means shoulder front. 肩内陵, I think, means the same thing. But this is at the midpoint of the line joining the end of the anterior axillary fold, which is right here, and large intestine 15. Large intestine 15, you'll find, I believe it's right here, right in this depression. Yeah. And then you'll find that at the midpoint. Is it sore at all here? Yeah. Okay. This is actually used for shoulder pain and stiffness. And helps to relieve pain in this area. Now we're going to move on to the arm. I'm just going to pull out your arm here. All right. The next point is called Arbeit, 2 whites. On the anterior aspect of the forearm, forearm proximal to the transverse wrist crease. So it's going to be 12 Zun between the transverse elbow crease, transverse cubital crease, and the transverse wrist crease. So if we're going to do forward Zun proximal, then we're going to have to divide this into 3. Like that. And it'll be right here. It's on both sides of the flexor carpi radialis tendon. Now, the radialis tendon is going to come all the way over to the thumb area. It's on the radial side. So it's going to be on either side of this tendon right here. So it's actually on the E of your let go tattoo. So I'll just mark that here and here. Well, not exactly on the E, but close to it. This helps to lift sinking qi. It raises yang and also treats hemorrhoids. Interesting. Then we're going to move on to the hand. The next point is sifeng. Well, there are actually 4 points, hence why sifeng, 4 cracks. This is on the palmar surface of the hand at the transverse creases of the proximal interphalangeal joints. So the proximal interphalangeal joints are these ones. So interesting. You're actually going to acupuncture here. Oh, prick does cause bleeding, so it's not going to be, you're not going to puncture all the way in, you're just going to prick it a little bit. And these are used to expel wind, harmonize the spleen, to resolve dampness. Traditionally, it's indicated for malnutrition and indigestion syndrome in children, as well as whooping cough. Yeah, I never would have thought that. Okay. Just going to mark that. Okay. And then we have the Shi Xuan. These are on the tips of all 10 fingers, about 0.1 sun distal to the tip of the nail, so it's very, very close to the nail. And they actually include pericardium 9, which makes sense. Pericardium 9 is over here at the top. And these points are used to clear heat, expel wind, and promotes resuscitation. And again, we're just puncturing very, very, very shallow, only 0.1 to 0.2 in Sun, very superficial, or just pricking to cause bleeding there. Now we're going to turn the hand, and we have the Yao Tong Xue. The Yao Tong Xue, it means lumbar pain point, and they're found on the dorsum of the hand, midway between the transverse wrist crease, which is here, and the metacarpal phalangeal joints, which are here, the knuckles essentially, between the 2nd and 3rd and the 4th and 5th. So we're going to follow that, and it's going to be midway. So they're actually right here, and this is used for acute lumbar sprain. It benefits the lower back and relieves pain. So let me just mark that. Right here and right here. And when you're puncturing these, you want to make sure that you're looking for the vasculature and that you're not puncturing into any of the veins. So you can actually move the vein slightly and then puncture. And interestingly, it says here that it is recommended that the patient moves the lower back while the points are being stimulated. That's very interesting. Next we have luozhen, which means crick of the neck. This is on the dorsum of the hand between the 2nd and 3rd metacarpal. So it's here, about 0.5 sun proximal to the metacarpal phalangeal joint. So again, here's the metacarpal phalangeal joint, and we're going to be going just 0.5 sun, so half of the width of the thumb right over here. And this is used to benefit the neck, relieve pain, and expel exterior wind. I'm just going to mark that right there. Luozhen. And the next point is Baxie. So 8 pathogenic factors. It's on the dorsum of the hand when a loose fist is made. So can you just make a loose fist? Good. Just proximal to the webs of the fingers at the junction of the red and white skin. Now, red and white skin, it just means, I mean, it depends on what the color of your skin is. But it's going to be where the color changes, essentially. So, okay. So it's in 3 places. That's my first time looking these points. And they're proximal to the webs of the fingers at the junctions. Okay. Okay, so it'll be right here. Here and here. These points clear heat, expel damp and wind, moves blood, relieves swelling, and releases exterior. So these points can actually be used a lot for arthritic hands, or arthritis of the hands, redness and swelling of the dorsum of the hand, that kind of thing. Oh, there's also one over here. Did not know that. So another one right here at the web, at the junction of the red and white skin. Okay, and then we're going to flip you over so we can work on the back points. Okay, next we have Hua Tuo Jia Li. Hua Tuo's paravertebrals. That's what it's called. Let me make sure I have a little pencil. Running out of this pencil here. So these points are 0.5 twin lateral to the lower border of the spinous processes of the thoracic and lumbar vertebrae. Okay, so I'm just going to do the thoracic ones. And if it's 0.5 twin lateral to the lower border, we're starting at C7 actually. No. T1. Interesting. What about Dimitron? Okay. And Bailiao is 2 twin, so we're doing those later. So for you, I know that C7 is the most prominent one. Yeah. This is C7, and then T1 is this one here, right below it. So if we're going to the lower border and going 0.5 twin lateral, we're doing half of a thumb. So around here, we're kind of on those paraspinals, kind of right next to the spinous processes. Sorry, the lower border of the spinous, the vertebra. And they're just going to be on either side. Yep. I'm just sticking to that lower border. Now the thoracic vertebrae are actually getting larger. So you're going to find that they're a little bit more spaced out, at least for you. It's a little more spaced out. Okay, and now it gets a little harder right there. Then here. And here. Okay, and then here. So we have C7, T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, T6, T7, T8, T9, and T10. And we're just going to keep going all the way down to L5. And those would be the Huatuo Jiali. And there's a group of 34 points on either side. These are used to regulate the corresponding internal organs. So I'm assuming over here would be more so the lungs, and then we get to kind of the heart region, and then getting more so into kind of liver and spleen area, and then as you go lower, more kidneys and stomach, pancreas. So these can be really helpful for that. Also benefits the back, benefits the spine, and relieves pain in this area. Okay. Then we also have Yishu and Huiguan Xiashu. These ones are lateral, 1.5 cun lateral to the posterior midline at the lower border of the 8th thoracic spinous process. So we said this one was the 10th, so 9 and 8, and usually T7 kind of corresponds roughly with the lower border of the scapula, but in this case that's actually, let me just count that one again. So we have C7, T1, T2, T3, T4, and that's T4 is kind of C7, T1, T2, T3, T4. Yeah, T4 is the large one on you. T5, T6, T7, T8, T8 right here. So the lower border follow the medial border of the scapula. This is 3 cun, so we're actually going to go halfway. So it'll be on either side here, right here. And these points are Yishu and or Weiguan Xiashu. It means the pancreas hollow. These are good for moving blood, clearing heat, and nourishing yin. So let me just mark that. 9, 10, yeah, so it'll be here. And that's that. Next point is by law, which means 100 taxations. Ooh, that doesn't sound fun. So this one is 2 cun superior and 1 cun lateral to the lower border of the 7th cervical spinous process. So we found it earlier. It's this big protruding one on you, and it's 2 cun superior, 1 cun lateral. Okay. 2 cun. Oops. So I'm actually going to use this is 1 cun, I believe 2 cun is this, and 3 cun is that. Lower border. Okay, that makes sense. So here. And 1 cun lateral. So that's the midline. We're just gonna go a little bit lateral here. Okay. So right there, I'm gonna mark that. It's kind of where this line is. Oh, that's maybe a bit too far apart, because I don't want it to be, yeah, that's too far. So let me just grab a bit of water. Let's try that one again. C7 lower border, 2 cun here. Spinous process, kind of midline area, and then 1 sun on either side. So right here and right here. Okay, there we go. I'm a lot happier with that. And that is Bai Lao. Bai Lao. That makes more sense. And these points descend Lung Qi, relieve coughing, resolves phlegm, and dissipates masses. The next point is Ding Chuan. Ding. I don't know how to pronounce that one. I am sorry. I have to look up the characters because just using the pinging, I don't know like which way I should pronounce it. But the translation is stopping asthma. And of course, you'd never use acupuncture to stop asthma, of course. You want to make sure that you're seeking medical attention, getting salbutamol and anything else that you need. But anyway, we need to learn this point, and it's more so for pain, relieving coughing, and expelling exterior wind. We're going to find that it's 0.5 Tsun lateral to the lower border of C7, so right here. There we go. So that is Ding Chuan. All right. The next point is called Yao Yan, which means lumbar eye. This point is 3.5 Tsun lateral to the posterior midline, which, is the spine, at the lower border of the spinous process of the 4th lumbar vertebrae. Alright. So now I actually have to find the 4th lumbar vertebrae. If you find the PSIS on either side, not PSIS, the iliac crest on either side, and then you move posterior, then you'll find L4, L5. So here we have to find L4, correct? Yes. Lower border of spinous process of L4, which is where my hand is right now, right between the two. And this point is found in the depression appearing in the prone position. So 3.5 Tsun. That means we're following the scapula. And then just going out a little bit. And then you'll find these little depressions right here. And it's actually on the ilium right here. So kind of like little dimples in your lower back. That's where that is. Yao Yan. These points benefit the lower back, relieve pain, and also benefit the bladder. Next we have Shiqi Zhuixia, which means 17th vertebra point. This is inferior to the spinous process of the 5th lumbar vertebrae. So we just found L4, L5 right here. And so inferior to the spinous process of the 5th lumbar vertebrae is down here. Right there. And this is a great point for benefiting the lower back, benefiting urination, relieving pain, but also regulating menses. So it can be used for irregular menses as well as dysmenorrhea, so menstrual pain. So that's that, Shiqi Zhuixia, 17th vertebra point. Okay, so that's it for the back points, and we're going to turn you around and move on to the leg area. All right, Now we're moving on to the leg points. First we have Bai Chongwo. Actually means 100 insects burrow. Bai Chongwo. 3 cun proximal to the medial-superior border. So medial-superior border. So around here. Of the patella on the belly of the vastus medialis muscle. So this is kind of the vastus medialis, and we're going to go 3 cun proximal. So this is the medial-superior border, and then we go 3 cun superior. It'll be right here. Okay. Roughly. I would actually, to be more precise, I would use the full measurement of the leg. But at this point, I'm just going to make it, yeah, usually I would do here to here, 16, and then go. But yeah, this would suffice for now. And then we have Heding, which means crane's summit. And this is in the depression on the midpoint of the superior patella border. So here's the little patella, and we're going right above it, right here. You know, the first time I knew that we could actually move this patella, I was like, wow, because it's literally just one small bone on top of the joint with some ligaments attached to it, and then the tendon of the quadriceps tendon goes all the way down here and then attaches down there. So it's quite interesting. But anyway, it would be right here, Heding. And this point moves chi, relieves pain. It's used for knee pain, knee stiffness, weakness of the foot and leg. Let's keep moving. Okay, we're almost done. The next points are xian. These are the eyes of the knee, and they're just the medial and lateral eyes. So you can actually see them right here. It's a little depression right here on either side. And here. And these points are often used for knee pain, especially pain in the anterior portion, and then down here as well. Yeah, so it can expel wind dampness, relieve swelling, relieve pain, and dissipate cold. And next we have Lanwei Xue. Lanwei is the appendix, and Lanwei Xue is the appendix point. So this is a tender spot approximately 2 cun inferior to stomach 36. 2 cun inferior to stomach 36. Okay. Stomach 36 is... I actually forget where stomach 36 is. 1 second. It's been a little while. Stomach 36 to Sanli is 3 cun distal to stomach 35. Okay. And this xian is actually the same as stomach 35. And from here to the this lateral malleolus, it's 16. So we're going to need to find 3 cun lower. So let's go halfway, which is 8, and then another half, which is 4, and then about 2/3. Wait, no. 4. No, we divide it into half, and then another half. Does that make sense? 2, 3, yes. So this is stomach 36. I'm just going to mark that really quickly. And then Lao Xue is 2 cun inferior to that. So if that's 3, one more time, 8, 4, so it's going to be 1 cun lower than that. So around here, and it should be quite tender. Is that tender? Not really. No? Okay. Then I have the wrong point here. Okay. There we go. So that is Lao Xue, and it's used to relieve abdominal pain, clear heat, as well as resolving damp heat. Next we have the gallbladder point, Dan Nang Xue, and this point is 1 to 2 cun inferior to gallbladder 34. Gallbladder 34, I just marked this again. We're actually going to find the fibula, the bone, the fibula. Okay, right here. And it's going to be right here in this depression, just below the head of the fibula. Let me make sure I'm getting that right. Yes, right here. And we're going to go approximately 1 to 2 cun, and we're going to find another tender spot. Okay. Let me find this. If it's only 1 to 2 cun, I don't need to go very far. Is this tender? Yeah. Okay. Right here. This is Dan Nang Xue. And finally, we're moving on to the feet, and that's it. Now we have the point Bafeng, 8 winds, and they are in between these webs, so in between the toes and the webs. And again, I believe, yes, they're at the intersection of the red and white skin, so where the skin color changes. So it's going to be right here, kind of like Ba Xie on the finger and the hands. This time we're doing Ba Feng. And these points are used for toe pain, redness and swelling of the dorsum of the foot, irregular menses, arthritis, and headache. Yeah, so you can kind of just press on them like this. And if you puncture them, you would go in obliquely about 0.5 to 1.0 inches. And that is it. Thank you so much for helping me today, and hope you have a good day. I'm just going to keep my book beside you right here while we do this. Thank you so much, by the way, for helping me study with my exam. I really appreciate it. Okay, so the first channel that we're going to do is the lung channel. I'm just going to place that there, and I'm going to be marking the points as we go. Okay, so lung 1, I'm just going to find your midline of the sternum and the acromion, and from the midline of the sternum to the acromion it's 8 cun. So we're going to go halfway and then another half, find the clavicle, and just under the first rib is going to be lung 1. So I'm just going to mark it. Lung 2 is going to be the one right under the clavicle. Okay, so it starts there, goes there. We're going to find the bottom of the anterior axillary folds and the transverse cubital crease. And from here to here, it's 9 cun. So we're actually going to just divide that into thirds, and it should be that one right there. because it's 3 Cun distal, and it's going to be radial to the biceps brachii. So I can feel the biceps brachii muscle right there. It's going to be right radial. Okay, that's lung 3. Lung 4 is just 1 Cun under that, so I'm going to be following the line from lung 3 all the way down to lung side of the biceps brachii tendon. So I'm going to be following that line, and we're going to just go 1 Cun lower, which is going to be about 1 thumb. So I'll just place that right there. I'm just going to make sure that I'm on the right line. So just being kind of a perfectionist here. Okay, that should be pretty good. And the other way to make sure is going like that, and then 3, and then dividing this third into thirds as well. There we go. Okay, so that's lung 1, lung 2, lung 3, lung 4. Lung 5 is the next point. It's on the cubital crease to the radial side of the biceps brachii tendon. So I'm just going to have you flex. Good. Get relaxed. And it's going to be right there. Very good. We have a few more points left on the forearm and the hand. So next we're going to do lung 6, which is 7 Cun proximal to lung 9. And we know that lung 9 is right here on the transverse crease of the wrist. So, and we know from the transverse cubital crease to the transverse crease of the wrist, it's 12 Cun. So if it's 7 from here, we're going to have to divide that by half and then add about 1 Cun, so be around there. And it's on the line joining lung 5 to lung 9. So I would say it's about here. Let me just check. Okay. I'd say that is lung 6. And then the rest are on the hand. So lung 7 is going to be right here. It's going to be proximal to the stylic process of the radius. And yeah, right there. Lung 7. Lung 8 is 1 Cun proximal to the transverse crease of the wrist. So if that's the transverse crease, and it's on the radial side of the radial artery, just find the radial artery right here. It's on the radial side. About 1 Cun. I would say it's about here. And then lung 9 is on the transverse crease of the wrist in the depression on the radial side of the radial artery. So again, finding that radial artery. And it's going to be right there. And this is a source point. I find a lot of the source points are on the transverse crease of the wrist. Next we have lung 10, which is in the midpoint of the first metacarpal and thumb. So we're going to find the junction where the skin changes color and texture, which is about here and right at the midpoint. So that's lung 10. And then lung 11 is, I forget which side of the thumb. Okay, it's on the radial side, so everything's pretty much radial, and it's just right there. Okay, so that's the lung channel. Alright, so next we're going to be doing the large intestine channel, and large intestine 1 is on the radial side of the index finger. So, right here. And large intestine 2 is also on the radial side of the index finger, but distal to the metacarpophalangeal joint. So it'll be around here at the junction of where the skin changes. So let's say it's right here. And then large intestine 3 is in the depression proximal to the head of the second. Okay, so right here. Good. And then large intestine 4 is one of the most popular points. It's so cool. Just right here. Large intestine 5 is in the anatomical snuff box. Right here. So we just finished large intestine 5. And large intestine 6 is 3 twin proximal to large intestine 5 on the line joining 5 and 11. So 11 we know is right down here. So let's actually mark that first because it's actually right at the edge. And then if we're going to join the line between 5 and 11, so all the other points are going to be on this line. Okay. And we know that from the transverse crease to here is 12. So that'll be 6. And if it's 3, it'll be here. And good. That's 6. 7 is 5 twin proximal. So it'll be again 6 and 1 twin and it'll be about 2. Let me try that one just one more time. I think it's about here. I might be a little off, maybe slightly more distal. And then large intestine 8 is 4 twin distal to large intestine 11. So it'll be, I'm just going to divide it by thirds. And then it should be right. Yeah, because 3 times 4 is 12, right? So it should be there. And then large intestine 9 is 3 twin, which half and half there. Large intestine 10 is 2 twin distal, so it'll be around here. I think that's right. This is lung 7, large intestine 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, let's keep moving. So we ended off at large intestine 11, and next we have large intestine 12, with the elbow flex, the point is proximal to the lateral epicondyle of the humerus when twins superolateral to the large intestine 11. So I'm going to flex the arm slightly and find the lateral epicondyle of the humerus right here. It's going to be 1 twin superolateral. Is that actually really okay? If it's 1 twin superolateral to large intestine 11, then that's probably better. I would just place it around here. Yeah, approximately. Actually, it might be slightly higher. Let's do that one. Maybe more around there. And largest intestine 13 is the line joining large intestine 11 and 15. Let's go ahead and find 15 first. Anterior and inferior to the chromion. Let's see here. There's the acromion, so it's going to be that be large intestine 15? So again, we're going to draw a line between 15 and 11, and all the rest of the points are going to be around here. Okay. So we found 12. 13 is 3 Tsun proximal, and we're going to divide anterior axillary fold to cubital crease. It's 3, then it'd just be right there. Okay, so that's 13. 14 is 2 Tsun distal from here. So let's do that one again. I would actually do this, and then around here. It's actually really close to the lung points, which is really interesting, but slightly posterior. Okay. Alright, and then we have large intestine 15. Since we're staying on the arm, we're just going to end off at large intestine 16, which is on the superior aspect of the shoulder, the depression between the acromial extremity of the clavicle and the scapular spine. So it'll be right in between the two. Just like that. Okay, that's the end for large intestine. And we'll move on to the heart channel. All right, next we have the heart channel, and we're just going to skip heart 1 and start at heart 2, which is with the elbow flexed. The point is 3 Tsun proximal to the medial end of the transverse cubital crease, and depression medial to the biceps brachii. Okay, so from here to here would be 9. And we're going to do 3 Tsun proximal. Okay. And we're going to do medial to the biceps brachii, which is right there. Heart 2. And heart 3 is, actually, would that be right? Yeah, that would be right. And heart 3 is at the medial end of the transverse cubital crease, and the depression anterior to the medial epicondyle of the humerus. Yeah, right there. Yeah, so it's kind of like opposite of large intestine 11. And then we're going to move on to the rest of the heart channel, which is all kind of in a line here on the ulnar side. So all of these points are on the radial side of the flexor carpi ulnaris tendon. So let me first find that. Just gonna move on the radial side. So it's roughly here. Heart 7 is going to be on the transverse crease. And then we're going to have each of the other points 0.5 Tsun proximal to that. So heart 4 is 1.5 Tsun proximal. Let me see what 1 Tsun would be. Out here. And here. So, like that, I would say. Heart 7, 6, 5, and 4, 3, 2. And then heart 8, I want you to just make a little loose fist, like this. Thank you. Heart 8 is right here. And heart 9 is on the radial side of the little finger. Just right here. Okay, perfect. I think that's mostly right. Yeah, I would say that's pretty good, and our thumbs are pretty similar. So, okay, that's the heart channel. Okay. Next, we're going to do pericardium, and we'll start again at pericardium 2, which is Tutsun distal to the end of the anterior axillary fold between the two heads of the biceps brachii muscle. So, again, 9, and divided by thirds, and about here, and I'm going to feel for the heads of the biceps brachii, and it's going to be right in the middle. Okay, it's pericardium 2. Pericardium 3 is on the actual transverse cubital crease on the ulnar side of the biceps brachii. So it's opposite of lung 5. So you found lung 5 here. Pericardium 3 is going to be over here. Yeah, right there. Moving on, pericardium 4 is 5 Tsuen proximal to the transverse crease of the wrist on the line joining pericardium 3 and pericardium 7, which we'll find first. Pericardium 7 is the depression in the middle of the transverse crease of the wrist between the palmaris longus and the flexor carpi radialis. So I'm just going to move your wrist radial to find the flexor carpi radialis, which is right here. And then I'm going to have you put these two together to find palmaris longus. Perfect. So it's these two tendons right here. We're going to stay in between them. And pericardium 7 is going to be right in between the two. Some people don't have a palmaris longus tendon, and in that case you're just going to have to go slightly ulnar to the, this should be out here. You're going to go slightly ulnar to the flexor carpi radialis. So if it's 2 tsuns, 12 is 6, or maybe we should do thirds. Yeah, thirds are probably better. And then it's going to be right in between. Pericardium 6. Pericardium 5 is just 1 tsuen proximal to that. And then pericardium 4 is 5 tsuen proximal. So for this one, I think I would just go halfway. So that's 6, and then 1 tsuen distal. Okay, so pericardium 7, 6, 5, and 4, 3, 2. And then we have pericardium 8, which I forget how to find this one. It's between the second and third metacarpal bones. So proximal to the metacarpal phalangeal joint. Okay. When a loose fist is made, it is where the tip of the middle finger touches the palm. Can you make a loose fist? Perfect. So right here. Pericardium 8, and pericardium 9 is right at the tip. Good. Next we have the small intestine channel. Let me find my little pencil here. Okay. So start with small intestine 1. Alright, this is on the ulnar side of the pinky and about 0.1 tsuen posterior to the corner of the nail bed. Okay. Small intestine 2, when a loose fist is made, the point is distal to the metacarpal phalangeal joint. Thank you. Distal to the metacarpal phalangeal joint at the junction where the skin changes texture and color. Small intestine 3 is proximal to the head of the 5th metacarpal bone. So right here. And then small intestine 4 is in the depression between the base of the 5th metacarpal bone and the triquetral bone. I would say that is it kind of at the, okay, so the triquetral bone, got it, right here. So basically at the transverse crease. So that's small intestine 5. Oh no, small intestine, did I get that wrong? One second. Small intestine 4 is on the ulnar side of the palm in the depression between the base of the 5th metacarpal bone and the triquetral bone. Ah, okay, so it's more up here. Got it. So small intestine 4 and small intestine 5 is in the depression between the styloid process of the ulna and the triquetral bone. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. And then we have small intestine 6. Which is with the palm facing the chest. The point is in the bony cleft on the radial side. So actually I'm going to have to move like this. The point is in the bony cleft on the radial side of the styloid process ulna. Okay, so right here. It's been a while since I've used this point. Small intestine 6. Small intestine 7 fights in proximal to the wrist on the line joining small intestine 5 and small intestine 8. So let's go ahead and find small intestine 8 first. Between the olecranon of the ulna, which is here, and the medial epicondyle of the humerus. Between the olecranon and, so right there. Interesting. Okay. And then small intestine 7 is 5 and proximal to the wrist. So again, we're going to do that. And it's 12, 6, 5 and proximal to the wrist. On the line between small intestine 5 and proximal to the wrist. Okay. So halfway and another one side down. Okay, so that's small intestine 5, 6, 7, 8. Moving on. So the rest of the points are on the back, and small intestine 9 is when the arm is abducted, the point is 1 superior to the tip of the posterior axillary bolt. So about here. Small intestine 9. Small intestine 10 is in the depression inferior and lateral to the scapular spine, directly superior to small intestine 9. Depression inferior and lateral to scapular spine. Here's the scapular spine. So it's right up there. Small intestine 11 on the midline of the infrascapular fossa. Just gonna move that over. Let me find the scapula. Okay. On the midline of the infrascapular fossa. on the junction of the upper 1/3 and middle 1/3 distance. Okay. Right there, I would say. Because if scapula ends around there, and this is the midline, and that's the spine of the scapula, and you find a line like this, then I feel like that would be the 1/3, roughly. Maybe a little bit higher. Okay. In the center of the suprascapular fossa, directly superior to small intestine 11. That's 11, so 12 is up here. This is T1, and we're going to find the spinous process, thoracic. So T1, T2, so roughly there. And it's going to be midway between these two, but on the medial extremity of the suprascapular fossa. Interesting. There we go. So that's 13. 14 is threaten lateral to the lower border of the first thoracic spinous process. And we know that threaten is in line with the medial side of the scapula. So right here. Roughly. It shouldn't line up like that. That's interesting. Let me do that one again. I think 13 is supposed to be a little bit more actually on the extremity. So that's 13. And this one is 14, which is at the lower border. So this one's 14. And that's 3. Yeah, I would say that's 14. And then 15 is toots and lateral to the lower border of the 7th. Toots and lateral to the lower border of the 7th. That's T1. This is C7. And I would find it about there. Because that's 3, so maybe actually a little bit more. Around there. So that's 15. Okay. Just sharpen this first. Go. Just need to turn your hand over this way. Okay. We're going to be doing triple warmer. Triple warmer 1 is on the ulnar side of the nail bed of the 4th finger. Triple warmer 2 is proximal to the margin of the web between the 4th and 5th digits. Best done with the clenched. There we go. 1, 2. 3 is in the depression proximal to the metacarpophalangeal joint. There we are. And that same line. Triple warmer 4 at the wrist joint in the depression on the radial side of the extensor digiti minimi tendon. So, just going to find that extensor digiti minimi. Can you actually move this up on your own? Thank you. And it's going to be on the radial side of that. Okay. Triple warmer 5 is 2 Tsun proximal to triple warmer 4 between the radius and ulna on the radial side of the extensor digitorum communis muscle. So it's between the ulna and the radius, but it is on the radial side of the extensor digitorum communis muscle. I want you to extend the entire wrist like this. Thank you. Relax. It's on the radial side, right here. So I'm just gonna actually mark where that line is. And triple warmer 5 is 2 Tsun proximal. Okay. From here to here is 12, 6. Actually, it's 2/3. 12, 4, 2 on the radial side. The extensor digitorum communis. Triple warmer 6 is 3 Tsun. So we're like this. Another way to do it is half and then half. So actually more like, and I am making a mess here. More like this. It's triple warmer 6. Triple warmer 7 is next to it, but more ulnar side. It is on the radial side of the ulna. 1 finger breath medial. Here. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is another 1 Tsun. So for that one we can just take the 12 Tsun and go by a third. Right there. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we can find triple warmer 9, which is 5 Tsun distal to the tip of the olecranon. So there's the tip of the olecranon, and we're going to stay between the radius and the ulna. So palpating for the radius and the ulna, radius. Half 6, 1 Tsun down, right there. Triple warmer 9. We're almost done. Now let's continue up the arm. So we found, need to find triple warmer 10. 1 Tsun superior. So that's the tip of the olecranon right there. 1 Tsun when flexed, so maybe about there. So that's triple warmer 10. Triple warmer 11 is 1 Tsun proximal to triple warmer 10. And is it following a line or it's just 1 Tsun proximal? Okay, then we'll just go 1 Tsun proximal. 11. 12 is on the line joining the olecranon and triple warmer 14. So let's find triple warmer 14. Triple warmer 14 is posterior and lateral to the chromion. Large intestine 15 we found earlier, it was on the anterior side, so this one's on the posterior side. So roughly, it's quite close to small intestine 10. I think it would be right here. Yeah. So triple warmer 14 is posterior and lateral to the chromion, so about here, pretty close to small intestine 10. And then we're going to use that line joining triple triple warmer 11 and 13. Line joining olecranon and triple warmer 14. So around here. Okay. And we found 11. 12 is midway. Okay. 13 is on that line as well at the posterior border of the deltoid muscle between the deltoid and triceps brachii muscles. Posterior border of the deltoid muscle. But this one is between the heads of the triceps brachii muscle. I'm really quite rusty with this one. It's actually maybe a bit more on that side, but it'll be hard to. Yeah, I would say it's maybe triple warmer 12. It's a little bit more. Actually, no, that's not bad. I would say that's okay. And then triple warmer 13 is the deltoid and the triceps brachii. I would say it's right here. And joining the line. So 12, 13, 14. And then 15 is midway between gallbladder 21 and small intestine 13. Very interesting. 13 is here. Gallbladder 21 is at the top point, so it'd be halfway. Right there. Triple warmer 15. And that's it for all the back, shoulder, and arm points. Thank you so much for helping me out. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a good